What is an ETF? Why should I invest in an ETF? Where can I invest in an ETF? How can I invest in an ETF? If these are the questions on your mind, don't go anywhere. Welcome back to my channel, guys. I am back again with another finance video. My name is Bola Olabode and I share videos on my lifestyle, finance, faith and everything fun. In my last finance video, I promised to make this video on how to invest in ETFs. Today, I am going to be breaking it down in the most simple and basic terms for you. If you are a beginner, if you're completely confused and lost about what an ETF is or how to invest, this video is right for you. First, we cannot talk about an ETF without mentioning stocks. I mean, that is the principal or that's the grandfather of an ETF. So what is a stock? A stock is an equity that allows you own a share of a company. What does that mean? Like an equity share of a company. Buying a share of a stock simply means that whatever company stock you're buying, you own a particular percentage of that company. For instance, if you buy a share of Apple, no matter the amount, it just simply means that you are a shareholder and a part owner of that company. The thought of me owning a stock, like owning a company, makes my head go like, oh! I mentioned this in my last video, you should check it out. So, what is an ETF? An ETF is also known as exchange traded fund. This simply means that it is traded on a stock exchange, just like a stock. So, an ETF can also be said to be a stock. But what differentiates an ETF from a stock? An ETF can be likened to a basket of stocks, unlike an individual stock. So we can have one stock, like Apple is a stock, Meta, and all of that. But ETFs brings together a lot of different individual stocks to make one fund, like one thing to buy. So in an ETF, you can have as many companies as possible. You can have 200 companies in one ETF, 500 companies in one ETF, and you can purchase that at a go. I like to liken an ETF to a basket filled with fruits, filled with different groceries. So for instance, if you go for a grocery shopping in your basket, in your cart, you put different items into that basket. You put a bottle of water, you put a can of milk, you put different fruits, you put different food items in that basket, and then it just makes that whole basket. So those things in that basket can be likened to different individual stocks. So that full basket can be called an ETF. So an ETF contains varieties of stocks. You can also liken it to a smoothie. If you want to make a smoothie, you have to put in different varieties of fruit, and apple, banana, strawberry. You can even add milk in the blender, and then you make a smoothie. That smoothie is an ETF that contains varieties of different stocks. So that is just the basic and simple meaning of an ETF. And ETFs also have a niche, in the sense that there are different ETFs in different niche. We have the oil and gas, we have energy, we have agriculture. So you can do your research just to check out ETFs in different categories and the categories that you really like to invest in. The number one ETF, like I classify it as the number one ETF because almost everybody in the world knows this ETF, is the S&P 500. When you check your stockbroker, you can see it as VOO. This S&P 500 contains the top 500 companies in the United States of America. This simply means that if you buy one share of that ETF, you have a portion, you have shares in over 500 companies. So this is what an ETF is. Why should I invest in an ETF? The number one reason you should invest in an ETF is because it is a diversified, low-cost way of investing in the stock market. Diversified, low cost. Diversity in the sense that when you invest in one ETF, you have spread your funds into various companies contained in that ETF. Unlike just buying one Apple, one Meta, one Nvidia. If you buy just one S&P 500, it simply means that you have spread your portfolio into various assets, into 500 different companies, instead of just buying one of Apple. Why low cost way of investing? If you have $100, and you are into investing into just individual stock, you can barely buy stocks of just 10 industries or 10 companies. That $100, if you put it into buying one share or an amount of share of S&P 500, you already put that $100 across 500 different companies, unlike using that $100 in buying a share of Apple here, a share of Nvidia there, a share of Meta here. So it is a diversified, low cost way of investing. Your portfolio is diversified. Another reason you should invest in ETFs is because it reduces your risk. When you invest in ETFs, the amount of risk you are exposed to is significantly reduced. Why? For instance, let's say 10% of the total amount of stocks in a particular ETFs is going down, and 90% of those stocks are going up. The 90% that is going up will cover up for the 10% that is going down, and the effect on your portfolio will be very insignificant. Unlike when you invest in an individual stock, whatever happens to that individual stock will affect your portfolio significantly. So investing in an ETF reduces the risk you are exposed to in stock trading, and the volatility is not so high. It's there because a lot of companies are involved, so it's going to be a little bit balanced out, and the risk will be way reduced compared to when you are investing in just one company. If you invest in Apple and Apple goes all the way down, you are going all the way down. If it goes all the way up, you're going all the way up. But the volatility is not as low as when you are investing in an ETF. So let's say even if 40% of the stocks in an ETF goes all the way down, the 60% would still be able to help you balance out in your loss, to help you reduce the risk of loss in your portfolio. The third reason you should invest in an ETF is because ETFs have almost a steady interest rate. Research has shown that an ETF is likely to return an average of 10 to 15% interest rate per annum. I mean, this interest rate is almost a little above most inflation rates in Africa and across the world. So if you see something that is promising you such an interest rate that is going to help you increase your purchasing power, I think it is something worth pursuing. So you should invest in ETFs because it helps you go head to head with the inflation rate of your company. If you invest in ETFs and you consistently do so, over the next few 10-25 years, you're going to be sitting in massive profits. Isn't that what we all want? Where and how can I invest in ETFs? You can invest in an ETF on stock exchanges. So wherever you are in the world, just Google or ask around what stock exchanges work in your country, and then you look for the ETFs you want to buy, and you buy them on such stock exchanges. In Nigeria here, we have Passfolio, we have Bamboo, we have Chaka, we have Tro, and many others. I know internationally there is Trade 212, there is Webull, and so many others. So you can buy ETFs on these stock exchanges. It's just like buying stocks, just like trading in stocks. It's the same way you're going to buy an ETF. How can you buy an ETF? Same way you buy stocks. Same way you buy stocks. So you register on these stock exchanges, you deposit your funds, and you search for the ETF you want to purchase, and you purchase it. Easy peasy. One very important thing to also look out for when you are choosing your stockbroker is to check out for the rates that they charge when you buy and sell stocks, because these stockbrokers also charge a very tiny amount when you do exchanges on their platform. But in Nigeria, the amounts are actually very insignificant, so it's not something to worry about. But you should also look out for the charges that you may likely incur. So as a beginner, these are the ETFs I think you should look out for. Please do your own research about them and see if it's something you want to go into. When I started my stock investing journey, these were also the things that I started investing in first. Of course, S&P 500 is number one. We have VTI, we have QQQ, there is HACK, among many others. Oh, there's also VGT. I really like VGT. Yes, I really like VGT. I also encourage and recommend that you should start small. Don't spread your portfolio too much. can just invest in at least 3 to 5 of them. If that is all you want, you can invest regularly in them, monthly, weekly, depending on how you want to invest. Just have your major ETFs so that you are not too overspread. You can have just 3. These are the only 5 I invest in. I invest just in VGT, BTI, VOO, HACK, and QQQ for now. I don't know if I'm going to increase my portfolio yet, but for my ETFs are the only 5 that I invest in regularly. One other thing, you don't need to have $1,000, you do not need to have $100, you do not need to have $500 to start investing. Some of these stockbrokers allow you to buy fractional shares, meaning that you can buy $1 amount of share. So you don't need to have the whole fortune in the world for you to start investing in ETFs. You can start with at least $1, $2, $5, $10. Just start within your capacity, something that you can consistently do. I have come to the end of this video. If you understand what I have explained, and if you still have a little bit of confusion, please, I am available in the comment section, so you can drop your questions for me if anything is still confusing to you. And if nothing is confusing and you have found this video very knowledgeable and you've gotten value, please also comment and like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please don't forget to share to your friends, and I see you in my next video.